Hey, I hope you're having a great day. It is 7:03 on a beautiful but windy Friday morning here in Ohio, June 7th, 2024. And a little disclaimer, this is not going to be your typical old camera guy video because I'm going to take you along every step of the way on a little one-day film photography project I've got going today. So we're going to shoot a roll of film, going to come home, develop the film, scan the negatives, and then edit the negatives, and then make some prints on my inkjet printer. And I'm going to take you along again every step of the way. It's going to be pretty loose, so if this is not your kind of thing, you can sit this one out and I'll catch you in the next video. Where's Waldo? Well, it's right here in Marion County in central Ohio, and I'm here today to shoot a roll of New Classic EZ400 in my Canon Rebel TI for the Frugal Film Project. Let's see what we can find. Community parks are a great place to find American flags, one of my favorite subjects.
And if there's a basketball hoop, you can better win to take at least 3 pictures of that.
Big thanks to my man Mark over at Waldo Tire and Auto for giving me directions to these old gas pumps. And who doesn't love a good swing set too? And if you keep your eyes open, every once in a while you'll find some unexpected gems like this old baseball. Hey, it's 11:28 a.m. and I am home. I shot my whole roll of film up in Waldo, Ohio, and now I'm ready to go ahead and start developing it. First step, of course, is loading it into my tank. So I got all my stuff ready here in the kitchen. I got this silver can to put my stuff in, including my opener, my scissors, my roll of film. So that all goes in here, in my dark bag. Got my developing tank and the lid. And even though I'm only developing one roll of film, I'm going to use both reels, so this way my single reel is not sloshed around all over the place and it's fully submerged into the developing liquids. All right, zip it all up, make it light tight. And another zipper here. Now, time for the magic. Got my hands in here. All right, got my roll of film in my hand right here. First step is to open her up. So I got my little opener. I'm gonna pry off the end cap here. So that's off. Got the film out. Gonna take my scissors and cut off the end of my leader here. And this part, you have to be real careful not to cut your dark bag. Always makes me a little nervous. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this leader off. And I'll make 2 more little incisions here on the edges. All right, got that done. Now, I'm gonna find one of those empty reels. Got one right here. And we're gonna load her up. And since I only have one reel, this will go pretty quick today, I think. All right, so we're gonna start loading up. Got these easy big tab ratcheting reels. Plastic reels is what I use. And we are about at the end. Perfect. Now, I'm going to go ahead and grab my scissors again. Cut the end of the film off. Again, taking care not to cut my bag. All right, film is successfully loaded onto the roll. There we go. All right, now get my tank upright. Take the lid off. Find my little spindle. Put the reel with the film on it down on the spindle first. Find my empty reel. It's around here somewhere, I think. Here it is. Put that on the spindle. Get my lid on, make sure everything is light tight with that lid. Lock it down really good. Unzip. Unzip. and everything is secure in my Patterson tank, daylight tank. So now we can do the rest of this in the light. Time to mix the chemicals. Today we're using Kodak HC110 Dilution B as usual. I'm going to get my distilled water in here. I like to use nice pure water. And our HC110 developing solution, graduated cylinder, just a touch more. Okay. I always have rags out like this, utility rags, so we're not spilling too much on our actual counters. We're going to go ahead and tighten this up. Just have a dollar store container here, little pitcher. We're going to pour our water in. And our developing solution. Stir it up real well. And we'll check our temperature. We're shooting for 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees Celsius. And we're clocking it at 66.7. We're not quite there, so I'll go ahead and heat it up a little warm water bath. And a bucket with some hot water will get us up to temp in no time. And while that's heating up, we're going to go ahead and prepare our final bath with some photo flow. And just a little bit of this will do, so a bottle like this will last you just about forever. Got a little dropper that I use here. Just need really 2, maybe 3 drops, that's it. And our final rinse is ready for later. Another thing I like to do is every time I develop a roll, I like to mark it on my bottle of fixture. Now it looks like this was mixed February 9th. I've got 5, 10, 11, 12 rolls in this already, so this will be roll number 13. And it should be good for a little while longer. So let me go ahead and mark that. I'm going to do a little pre-soak for a minute. All right, our minute's up. Now we're going to dump it out. Now it's time to fire up our massive dev app. And we've got right here a new classic EC400. I've already got everything, all the times in there. So we're going to get this rolling with our development. agitate the first 30 to 40 seconds. Give it a tap to get the air bubbles out. And we're going to repeat this every 30 seconds. We're going to do 5 seconds of agitation for about 6.5 minutes. Rinsing off the agitator. Our 6.5 minutes is almost up. Alright, dump out our developer. Dilute it real well with the water. And now we're going to do our stop bath for about a minute. Alright, minute's up, dump her out, get all the water out, shake it really, really good. Alright, time to fix. Go ahead and dump this in. And get her started. Agitating again. Agitating again for the first 30 to 40 seconds or so. Then we're going to repeat that every 30 seconds. We're going to do about 5 seconds of agitation again. And we're going to do this for about 6 minutes or so. A little bit longer because I'm on my 13th roll. Alright, our 6 minutes of fixing is up, so we're going to go ahead and dump this back into our fixture bottle, because we're going to reuse this, of course. And just like with the developer, when you're ready to put the cap on the fix, squeeze out as much air as you can. We don't want to waste any of this. Let's get it all out of that tank. All right. Now we're ready to rinse. And this part you can do with the lid off. Now I don't have any washing aid, so I'm going to go ahead and just rinse it with normal water again, about 10 minutes or so. And you want to keep this fairly close to that 68 degrees or 20 degrees Celsius again. If you use the Ilford method, you don't have to use quite as much water, and you can look that up too. Alright, our rinsing is done. Let's dump her out. I'm going to take the top empty reel. Now, it's time for our distilled water photo flow mixture. Again, 2 or 3 drops, that's all you need. Give it a quick spin, don't want it too sudsy. And we're going to let this soak for, again, about a minute, half minute to a minute. While we were doing our 10-minute rinse, I took that time to clean up most of my mess. All right, our final photo flow rinse is done. Now, the moment of truth. We're going to take this reel out of here. I'm going to shake off a bunch of excess liquid here. Give it a good shake. All right, wish me luck. We're going to see if there's any images on here. Let's bust this open. Take a look here. What do we got? Oh yeah. Look at that. Magic every time. And yes, those are old gas pumps. All right, this roll is ready to hang up to dry. All right, I hang these up to dry with a clamp on each end in my kid's bathroom. And these clamps are nice and heavy, so it'll weight it down pretty well. And I like to let it dry for about 2 hours or so. All right, it's 3:30 p.m. I hung up the negatives at 120 so they're nice and dry. I just have a little X-Acto paper cutter to cut them with, and I cut mine into strips of 6 because that's what fits into my print file. And I actually snuck 37 pictures on this roll. We got one extra. Okay, negs are dried and cut. Now it's time for everybody's favorite part, scanning. Actually, this might be a hot take, but I really don't mind scanning that much. And an even a hotter take is I use my Epson V550 flatbed, and I don't use Silverfast or ViewScan. I actually just use Epson Scan 2, and it may not be very sophisticated, but it does get the job done. Let's turn her around. There's our scanner. We've already got it turned on. Now, we're going to go ahead. I actually use the original Epson holders. And what's funny, maybe not so funny about it, is mine is actually broken. But I can still snap it in place and it still mostly works. So we're going to use that today. With these holders, you can scan 2 strips, which is typically 2 strips of 12. So again, 12 images at the same time. So I've got my negatives here. So I'm going to go ahead and get these ready to put in here in the right orientation. So we're going to flip this around. We're going to tuck the first one in here. Try not to really touch the negative so much. And second one, same thing. So we're going to get this turned around and just tuck that in there. I've got my broken holder. We're going to go ahead and put this in place. And I'm going to clamp this down. And here's where that broken part is right there. All right, good enough. Still works. Got that pressed in place. And a couple important factors here. If I need to adjust these at all, if the sprocket holes are not in the right place, what I would typically do is take a microfiber cloth and then readjust this, lightly touching the negatives and moving them if I have to. These look like they're lined up pretty good. Other important step is to take my rocket blower and blow off the dust. We're going to do that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to place this on our scanner bed. Before we do that, I typically like to take one of those microfiber cloths, very soft cloth, and just wipe off any potential dust here. Sometimes I use the rocket blower for this too, because any kind of dust can really gum up your scans. We're going to place our holder here. We're in place. We're going to get that lid closed. And I'm going to fire up that Epson Scan 2 software. Got Epson Scan 2 pulled up. This is certainly not a scanning tutorial, but I'll go ahead and full disclosure, just share some of my settings with you here. So if you go to main settings, we've got this set for, instead of scanner glass, transparency unit, black and white negative film, and 2400 DPI. And I do have this set for thumbnail mode up here. So I have it on thumbnail, and you can see it's pulled up all 12 of my thumbnails. Now sometimes the thumbnail detection doesn't work and I won't use it, but in this case everything showed up very nicely. So now we are ready to scan. I've got my preview scan already done, and over here on advanced settings, sometimes we'll do color restoration, which in black and white a lot of times we'll just change your contrast, that sort of thing, so we can decide if we want to do that. And if we do, we can actually do that. You can control shift and do all 12 if you want to do that. And I think we're pretty good there. You can make other adjustments too with contrast, saturation, brightness. And then it's got dust removal, grain reduction here, unsharp mask, backlight correction, which typically will make your images brighter. Down here, we can change the settings. And we're going to set this for Frugal Film Project, June. I'm going to restart my counter, and we can start scanning. Alright, scanning's done, so we're going to do a little light editing. I'm going to go ahead and drag this first picture down to my Photoshop elements. And we're just going to do, again, a little light editing. Typically what I do is an example like this. If this is in landscape orientation, when I want a portrait, we'll go ahead and rotate that. We'll get it fit on the screen here. And I just mainly look for editing out any kind of dust spots, that sort of thing, like this. I'll probably go ahead and use the healing tool to get rid of this. And if I want to adjust the contrast, I'll do that sometimes too. But generally my editing process is pretty light because I don't have the patience for it. So, all right, we got the scanning done, the editing is done. Now we're going to make a few prints on this little 4x6 paper, just inkjet prints on my HP Envy 5055. We've got our 4x6 paper here. Close that up. We're going to modify this. So we don't have plain paper, we have photo paper. And then we have to change the size. Four by 6. All right, we're going to open up one of our gas pump pictures, and pull up the print dialog. Let's change it to 4 by 6. And we're going to change to scale to fit. So we fill the entire print and wait for the printer. Wow. Again, not archival, certainly not a silver gelatin darkroom print, but there is something super cool about holding a tangible, physical print the same day I took this image. Love it. Now this of course wouldn't be an old camera guy video without a big photo montage, so now I'm going to go ahead and share some of the highlights of this roll I took today.